Talk Show on Liberty Radio.
And this is what happens when there's no dialogue, when no one talks. Because this, you thought, they were thinking that I was committing a mistake. I have plenty of signs here saying you are on air, but no. This is what is happening when you do not have a dialogue with your partner. And this silence sometimes can kill. And the Love Talk Show today wants to talk about this. Pay attention to this video and we are going to talk. If you know about a couple or someone who is going through this situation where they are giving themselves the famous silent treatment. They are not talking. We want this person to send a message, to call them and to invite them to join today's program because it will be used to open their eyes.
Hello, good evening. And today we will be talking about the sound of the crickets. Crick-crick. When nothing happens and there's no dialogue. Even if it's regarding the singles and they don't talk with people around the house, with the family members. The same thing with the couples. They are giving the silence treatment, and what will they reap? Silence.
So let us know what you think about it. Our chat is already available for you. You can go there and you can share with us with your opinion. Meanwhile, we are going to watch this video.
Communication is the cornerstone of human interaction, the foundation upon which all relationships are built and sustained. Amongst the countless forms of communication, conversation or dialogue is the best form. Both words can often be used interchangeably and significantly impact the quality and depth of interpersonal connections, especially in romantic relationships. Conversation is the discussion between parties where ideas and opinions are exchanged. Dialogue defines a more profound exchange, especially directed towards the exploration of a particular subject or the resolution of a problem. At the beginning of a relationship, when everything is new and two people are getting to know each other, there seems to be no shortage of words and things to talk about. As time goes by, simple conversation turns into dialogue, where deeper feelings and intimate thoughts are shared, leading to even tighter bonds. Dialogue is what turns an ordinary relationship into something unique. However, it can happen that with time, a couple may think that they know everything there is to know about their partner. As a result, dialogue loses its appeal, allowing instead for small talk to take its place. Whether this is out of fear, boredom, or the absence of intimacy or common interests, a couple can stop having meaningful dialogues. This then creates a rift between them that can disregard the qualities that brought them together in the first place. In order to have a happy, long-lasting relationship, couples have to engage in honest and open communication, addressing their needs, fears, and aspirations with vulnerability and authenticity. Without this, a relationship can go down a path where conversations merely revolve around problems, debt, complaints, demands, or accusations. In the long run, the appreciation and admiration for one another wears off. One of the things that can negatively affect conversation in a relationship is the internet. Dubbed as one of the worst relationship villains, it allows a couple to sit next to each other but be miles apart at the same time. A 2023 study revealed that on average, people in the UK spend 2 hours and 55 minutes on their mobile phones each day. This is alarmingly more than 10% of their day devoted to a mobile phone, and often more time than one would have spent interacting with their partner. In our modern world, numerous things try to attract our attention. Whilst the colors of artificiality look appealing, they have the potential to destroy what we hold dear in real life. In a romantic relationship, it is extremely important to create moments where you can drop everything to share your feelings and thoughts with the person you intend to spend your life with. Do you find it difficult to discuss things with your partner but have no problem talking to others about your passions? Do you lack the courage to bring up difficult topics? Do you hide what you get up to from each other? Does it seem easier to turn to the internet than to your partner? Be sure to remain tuned in to tonight's program.
Well, you could see the effects of developing a conversation, or when a person decides not to talk.
What do you think about tonight's theme, the absence of dialogue, and how can this affect a relationship?
Well, to understand this better, we have to summarize a little bit of what we already spoke here once. When you start your relationship, one of the things that you developed the most was exactly the fact of talking to this person. And talking, you could know more about this person. You found the interests you had in common, the goals, the projects in life. You liked what you saw, you liked what you were knowing about this person, and communication was a very important factor, and it had a very big influence in the fact of deciding to have a life together with this person. And it's ironic that the opposite also happens, Andrea. When things usually are getting worse, and mainly when they are really bad, usually couples, they tend to quiet and don't talk.
Because sometimes that brings up subject that they are not willing to discuss, and even less to sort out. I remember while we were talking about communication and what couples tend to do once they are married for a while now, I remember that while we were dating, I really paid very high bills of telephone, very high telephone bills, because we were talking a lot. And do you remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Yes. So
Nowadays, people, they know more about me than myself.
you know, we talk about everything. We are very open in our relationship. But this is for you to have an idea. And I believe that some couples that are watching us now, they can relate to this. And please, let's be sincere. We didn't have an internet back then. So only the telephone on the line. And I was seated on the couch, I remember until today, with the phone like this and then on this hand. But I wouldn't get tired. I wouldn't get tired of talking to you. We had a lot of subjects to talk about. And we still talk about things nowadays. But we see that when a relationship starts developing and you have a few years that you are married, that you have been married for, people tend to focus on other things. For example, what we've just heard, we just heard internet. So the person is there and the other one is on the phone. The person is there and the other one is playing video games. And they get distracted. We get distracted nowadays very easily. And that's what drains a relationship.
Sometimes unresolved matters, sometimes even unresolved resentments, things that were happening, and one of them tried to talk about it, tried to bring up the subject, and for some reason the other one just ignored or did not pay attention of what was being said, and then comes frustration because a person feels like I'm not being understood. Comes sometimes even irritation because you are accumulating so many things and you are not talking about them, that people, they end up becoming irritated, and for anything that is happening is a reason for a person to reveal that anger in the way they talk or in the way they are behaving. And Andrea, I dare to say, sometimes it's even better when a couple are fighting and they are arguing. And it's, in my opinion, and for what I've seen, it's much better when silence takes over. Because while they are fighting and while they are arguing, although things are not going well, it means that they still see in each other a way to change us. They still see, you still can see what I'm trying to say, although in the wrong way. But when the silence comes over, Andrea, it means that they shut down. I don't believe in this relationship anymore.
Usually after that silence comes divorce, because they are not willing, like they think it's a waste of time to try and sort things out, and that's when they give up.
Well, let's watch a few moments of the last therapy, the love therapy, and we will be back.
In order for God to rebuild a person's life, you have to recognize that you've done wrong, that you failed. And that is an action of faith, of humbleness. No, my God, I did this, but I know you can change the ways, you can change the path, you can make me, be another person, change me, make me all new. He can, but we need to come to him like David in humbleness and confess our sins. Same thing, because we're speaking about couples, but also singles. Maybe for a long time you've done what you thought was right for you. You know God's word, you know God's guidance to true happiness. Even though you even come to the church, but you still do your own thing. You still do what you shouldn't do. You get involved with things you shouldn't, etc., etc. So, but from the moment that you say to God, my Lord, I had enough of being my own Lord, I want you to take over from now on. Then he has something to work with and rebuild your life. And couples is the same. Usually there is one complaining about the other. But if at least one comes and says, you know what, I've done wrong, I could have done better. Regardless of what the other person says or recognizes, oh, she never says that she's wrong, it's always me, it doesn't matter. You do what you need to do and God will have something to work with. And when we humble ourselves, our conscience are so light and not heavy anymore. You don't have this accusation. So you have the faith that God will rebuild your life. It's like that.
What have you seen in yourself that has changed ever since you started attending the love therapy seminars?
I think just the maturity side of things. I think before coming to love therapy, I was very, very immature with my love life in general, and that's why I actually didn't want to come. But it helped me to mature and understand what love really is. It's helped me to come out more of my comfort zone, to address things as well that you didn't think that, like things that you thought that you knew, but you actually didn't know regarding things to do with love life. So things from the world that you also started to build up in your mind that kind of I let go of, and just seeing myself becoming more mature towards my love life, if that makes sense, yeah.
Have you attended a love walk before?
Yeah, I have attended a love walk.
What would you say is the benefits of the love walk? Is it only for married couples, or what was it like for you?
I would say it's a great experience for you to get to know other people, get to know how to even communicate with people, because you think you do, you know how to do it, but when you're actually in the environment, you realize how much you don't communicate sometimes, and it really takes you out of your comfort zone. It makes you understand like love is a bit more than just what you see. So when you start to communicate and talk to people, you get to know them, and it's not just about love life. You can get to make friends. You get to just be in an environment that is nice. Yeah.
And what would you say to somebody that has never been to the Love Walk or the Love Therapy seminars before?
I would say come, because it's a lot more than you think. It's not scary. It's not. I'm sure in your mind you think it's just about like getting to know somebody, but it's so much more. You get to learn, you get to develop, you get to grow. It's fun as well because you learn so much that you didn't know in the beginning. So you're always learning something new, and so I would say invest in the Love Therapy meetings. Come to the Love Walks. Come to the singles out if you can. Invest.
And you had the opportunity of having a little bit, to taste a little bit of what we have been learning in the Love Therapy, and also what people's expectations and what they are witnessing in the Love Therapy is or are. And today's theme is about the silence that is in a relationship. And talking here with Andrea while the videos were playing, we spoke also, sometimes this silence is coming because of the lack of skills to communicate. And sometimes people, they struggle with it. And no matter how strange this looks like, but sometimes people, they struggle to communicate with the person they live with. They struggle to communicate for several reasons. To communicate with the person they are sleeping every single day, with the person they have children with the person they pay with the same bills, they pay the same mortgage, but they find it very difficult to communicate. The lack of fear of confrontation, the lack of fear of not being understood, the lack of fear of what this person is going to do after, and silence again comes up and builds this division among the couple.
And the thing is, I was even thinking, if you are single now and you lack these communication skills, and when we talk about communication skills, it's not that you are going to be talking to an audience or a public. No, it's communicated even with the people that surround you, your family members, like we were saying in the beginning. If you don't talk to your siblings, if you don't communicate with your parents, because nowadays what we see is this inclination, this tendency. Youths, they lock themselves inside their rooms and they are there. They eat there, they play there, sometimes they don't even go out to go to school. And this is even a bigger problem. But if you think that when you get married or when you have your own place, your own house, when you get to know someone and you get to live with someone, that this will be better, it will not. Sometimes in the beginning, because the person is interested in another person or to date with someone, to get to know someone, so they interact, they become even more social. But if you don't overcome that shyness now and that lack of communication, of skills of communication, probably you will find very difficult to maintain a relationship with someone else.
And everything starts with an action. As you know, it's common for us to hear people saying, but this is who I am. This is who I am. Yes, this is who you are, and I give you that. This is who you are, but this doesn't mean that you have to be that person for the rest of your life. This doesn't mean that you just need to look to the consequences or the way that you are solving problems. It's important to mention here, we have nothing against when you have your moments of privacy, the moments that you are by yourself, the moments where you need to be quiet. Nothing wrong with that. But we are talking about couples, and we are talking about how silence can affect a relationship and one's love life. And yes, if you, as my wife was saying, you are an island. You are an island inside of your house. You are an island when you are going to work, to school, when you are isolating yourself from the rest of the world, as usually we say. And you do not communicate because you are a fear of conflict, because afraid of conflict. You are afraid of not being understood. You are afraid of showing that you are trying to control or manipulate someone else's, or I don't know what the reason is. I do know something, that maybe this is affecting your wife, your husband. Maybe this is affecting your relationship. Maybe this is affecting your potential relationship. Maybe you are single until today because of this silence, because you are not developing this ability of communicating. And again, I say, there's nothing wrong in being a quiet person. But for you to know who that person is, you need to communicate. You need to be understood also. And in order for you to develop these qualities and these talents, this is where the love therapy comes in. Because there you are going to learn. Teachings are going to be said, and the lecture, the moment that Bishop together with his wife comes and gives you the direction of what you can do and be, it will help you in growing and developing talents that sometimes are already within you, but they are hidden. You just need to know I'm sorry, you just need to know how to use them and to develop them. Let's watch a few moments of this love therapy session, and we'll be back to finish our program.
You either are the person who makes the mistake, or you were the victim of a mistake.
Yeah.
Let's look at the two situations. If you are a person of God and you made a mistake in your love life, what does God expect of you? He expects you to acknowledge what happened, repent of what you did, and start again. Make a covenant with God. When you are the perpetrator of the problem, if you are in a relationship, you made a mistake, go to the person, realize what you have done, recognize what you have done, and recognize you will not fix this problem unless it's with a covenant with God. I don't believe in people who cheat and they say, oh, I stopped being a cheater because I had a realization. No, a person stops being a cheater because they made a covenant with God and they fear God.
Yeah.
So if you made a mistake, how do you solve the problem? How do you solve the problem? You realize the mistake you've made, make no excuses for it, make a covenant with God, and say from now on, because I have a covenant with God, I will change. Mm-hmm. Amen. Now, if you are the recipient, you were on the receiving end of a mistake. The person who's with you hurt you, offended you, betrayed you. What do you do? Well, first of all, you have to see if this person cheated because they are a serial cheater and they don't care. Mm-hmm. You have to see if this person made a mistake because they had a moment of weakness, or if they are, that they don't care. They don't care about who they are, what they do. Because if the person doesn't care, I'm sorry, there's no hope unless the person also makes what? A covenant with God. But maybe you were, and when I say there's no hope, not that there's no hope, I'm saying there's no hope until the person makes what? A covenant with God. So if you're on the receiving end of a mistake, what do you need to do? Find out if the person had a moment of weakness that had never happened before. And you then can rebuild and say, make a covenant with God, solve this problem. Or if the person is a serial liar, serial cheater, serial all these things. And if that's the case, then you, not the person, has to make a decision. You need to make a decision whether you want to be with someone who doesn't fear God, who doesn't respect you. Because if and then of course it's up to you whether you want to give the person another chance. Because if God gives the person another chance, why wouldn't you? But that's your decision.
And it's already tomorrow. We are going to have the love therapy session. And Andrea, we want to take advantage on these last 2 minutes we have available to talk with everyone who is suffering, to talk with everyone whose life is destroyed. There was a promise, and we have been talking about this to David, that God would rebuild his tent. He will rebuild and will set it up, will rebuild its ruins, and will give him the privilege of seeing his family, his life, his tent being rebuilt. And the same can happen with those who are watching us. We don't know what their situation is. We don't know if they already lost the partner or the spouse, if they are close to signing the divorce, if they are living in the same house but different rooms. We don't know if you are watching me at this very moment and you are alone and you have been alone for a long period of time. Maybe you look to your family and you don't have one good example in your entire family of someone who succeeded in their love life, and you are convinced that you are meant to suffer in your love life. Andrea Bishop, together with all of us, will separate a moment of the love therapy session and will dedicate for those who are suffering in order for them to rebuild their lives.
It's up to you to make this call, this decision. We usually say, and we don't get tired of saying this, come. It's not for you to get married, it's for you to rebuild yourself. It's for you to be rebuilded from within in order for your life to start changing. So start with you, and all the other things around you will start changing also.
So whatever is going wrong in your life, if you are suffering, if you are desperate, if you are afflicted, if you see your your marriage going down the drain, you see that your love life is not getting anywhere, you are not achieving whatever you want. Tomorrow is the day. No matter where you are watching or listening to me from, you are my special guest in being with us, because tomorrow the service, it will be for you in order for your life to change. A moment of the service will be given to you where we are going to ask for your life to be rebuilt. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. The Love Talk Show is reaching the end. We are coming back tomorrow at 10 p.m. May God bless you all. See you tomorrow.